Hello, you're watching Avenue X, and this is a combination final review video on two just finished airing Chinese dramas. First one being 折腰, The Prisoner of Beauty on Tencent, which I have already made a video on, and this is just happening at the end of it because it has finished airing. The other one is a very short drama, only 8 episodes, coming from 爱奇艺在人间, What a Wonderful World. As usual, time-coded in sections. First, let's talk about my final thoughts on the drama 折腰, Prisoner of Beauty. Pretty much my opinions stay the same until the last episode. It really didn't provide me any new surprises. It kind of happened according to everyone's expectation. In terms of this drama's performance, it did pretty well compared to, let's say, other dramas that have aired on Tencent this year. Considering 2025, most Chinese dramas are not doing well at all, and considering this is actually a delayed drama, it should have aired a year ago, I'd say it performed probably better than most people expected. So overall, my opinion on this drama is it is still that watchable, but then not that much new things going on. If you miss it, you really don't miss much drama. And the things that's worth watching still remains the same. If you like those specific actors, they're unlikely to disappoint you. Song Zu'er does look very, very pretty. The styling really suits her in this drama. For the 2 years that she's absent from Chinese dramaland, you don't realize how much you miss her until she comes back. A very pretty face that's very eye-friendly. Young actress who can actually act. What a difference that can make to a drama, because we've seen many dramas in the last couple of years that are led by so-called popular actresses who are neither pretty nor good at acting at all. They just have a big fandom. The things that I didn't like about the drama in the earlier part still is the problem, and as the story goes on, you really can tell it is the biggest problem. This drama is very information not dense. For its 36 episodes length, it should have a lot more happening. There's a lot of plot in terms of serving narrative and character relationship development purpose that gets repeated. Reads very much like intentionally just slowing down the pace and repeating and walking in circles so that it can fill up the length. And it's a very wasted opportunity, because that leads to another problem of, although you have 36 episodes length, you didn't give enough care and attention to characters who deserve that and would actually make the drama a lot more interesting. By which I mean a lot of main supporting roles, particularly on the bad people end of things, such as the character Liu Yan, such as the character Yulou Furen, even the character played by Liu Duanduan, Wei Shijun, wavering between but actually eventually find out he's the good guy. Even say our female lead's sister, like 80% positive, but she has obviously her own problems that gives a little bit of conflict between the sisters and her husband. So all those main supporting roles in an ideal world where you have 36 episodes and you have too much repeated thing going on between the male lead and female lead that really isn't doing anything, you could give the time to those characters, develop them a little bit more, because potentially they can be actually dramatically more interesting than what they look like now. The more you make them interesting, strong, and powerful, then the struggle against them becomes more valuable for our main characters. Yet it's completely wasted in this drama. I find it such a pity that the characters Liu Yan and Yulou Furen, for example, didn't really get that much attention and time. Their steps of being bad and doing things that gives our lead troubles are so child's play and so random, and it just happens. And there's no procedure, there's no middle of how they do it. It just always is, they decide to do it, next step, they did it. No good clues laid before that. So this whole drama is whenever we need a bad guy, the bad guy pops up, and then when we don't need them, they just evaporate. And they don't even have a consistent and very full and very detailed development line of how they got there. And the actors are not bad actors. You know, these two actors have been around for years. They've played so many things. And same to do with like Liu Duanduan and other people. I just feel it's such a missed opportunity. They could actually cut quite a big chunk off the main lead's story and cut some of the banterings for the four generals, which I mean, they are adorable, but they are so characterly adorable. They're so sidekick. They're so clearly made for that purpose of comic relief. They could have cut off quite a bit of time off those people and give it to the anti-heroes, the bad guys, the not so good or bad people, so that you get a fuller ensemble. because ultimately the fuller characters of those people would feed back to the validity of our leading couple. And the drama just didn't do it on script level. It is a very, very mediocrely written script compared to the same scriptwriter's previous work. It really isn't as good at all. And then you get a director on top of that who, like I said in my first review, he really doesn't know how to direct love, romance, tension, and then put it on camera and edit it together with visual and audio and all the designs of languages and lighting and music and editing. Again, refer to Zheng Qingjie from Blossom, how he would direct the two leads, who are not necessarily the best young actors out there. How much more you can add on to what's already there, being a good director of directing romance. I wouldn't in any way highly recommend it to anybody, and I pretty much would not rewatch this drama. The last thing I wanna say to wrap up this is, you can tell this is a drama that's limited by its budget. It's a pity, because this drama, it is 伪三国. It is like a fake Three Kingdoms type of thing, where the China that you see is a divided China between smaller kingdoms. So there are only a couple of periods in Chinese history that are distinctively that. And the drama features a lot of battles and wars, supposedly between cities, between kingdoms. Yet there's barely anything that actually gets shot. When you see a huge troop, it's CG'd in front of the gate of a city, which is like pretty much the only thing they can afford to do. And when two armies are actually charging at each other, it's really just a couple of, I don't know, 100 extras hacking at each other. They don't have enough budget to shoot a big scene with enough extras, so all the fights become very limited with the camera language. You can tell it's just all happening in the same location. Although supposedly in the story, it's happening at this city, it's happening at that city, it's all shot in Hengdian, right? So it's that mountain and that cliff and that part that I've traveled to and put on camera. And if you watch my 2023 travel vlog, you recognize the landscape. Almost every Chinese period drama that needs a kind of in the mountain, a little bit open field, people fighting where there's a cliff behind, it's all shot in the same location, right? It's the same cliff, it's so recognizable. So whenever there's battle happening, sorry, but I watch too many Chinese period dramas. I know where those things are shot, and it's just really funny to look at it. Try to make myself believe it's a war between two kingdoms, and this is limited by its budget. It is at the end of the day still just a idle period romantic drama, so I guess I shouldn't hope too much coming out of it. So this is my move on drama. I watched, good, move on. Then moving on to the second part of this video, talking about the newly aired and immediately finished, due to its only 8 episodes, 爱奇艺在人间, What a Wonderful World, directed by Xu Bing, led by Zhao Liying and Yin Fang. March last year, 2024 to May in Chongqing, my hometown. I've been following news on this drama since then because it's a really interesting topic about multiple personality. The problem with this type of story is they leaked the plot before the drama even aired, because early in the days when they started shooting, all the publicized material about the nature of the story already is pretty clear about the fact that the male lead and the female lead is the same person. And the story, when it actually starts airing, when you watch it, it's like halfway point, it tells you for sure that that is the case. And that's the biggest selling point almost of the whole plot. Yet everybody knows about that before they even got into this drama. So I cannot unsee that. I cannot live on another timeline to basically not know this and go into this drama. So I wouldn't know, if I didn't know this, how I would react to the story. Right now, I don't react very positively to this drama, and I wonder, had I not known about the fact that these two are the same person, would I have a better experience? I'll never find out. So the guy is our main character. Zhao Liying plays one of the major personalities, the strongest one. And she kind of got rid of all the other personalities for him until it gets to the point where doctors would say it's impossible to fully recover unless you also get rid of her. But he really likes her and she likes him. So it's like the odd situation of a person split another personality off and these two are in love. I know, weird. And at the end of it, they give you a kind of happy ending where she disappears but she still remains and he still lives with her 24/7, but then he doesn't tell anybody else. I had some hope for it because it looked fantastic in its trailer. At least the visuals looks really stunning. And you think about some classic movies that's about this in movie history, it's always a pretty interesting topic and type of story. And then obviously it's very testing on the actors acting. So there's a potential of delivering really interesting, edgy performances that actors don't usually need to do or get to do in a normal setting of story. So those are all the selling points of the story. But as soon as I start watching this drama, pretty much halfway point through first episode, I realized I've hoped for too much. And this drama is gonna ultimately disappoint me. I put the drama off for a few days, but then I thought it's only 8 episodes. It's like drinking Chinese medicine. It's super bitter. But if you pinch your nose and just swallow it, take a few candies, you're gonna be fine, okay? It's not enjoyable, but it's not prolonged pain because it's only 8 episodes. So I pinched my nose, metaphorically, and swallowed this drama. This director has done a lot of things. Some of it actually really good. For example, back in the days, espionage drama of the 2014, around that time, 红色 Red, which is led by Zhang Luyi and Xiao Taohong. It's actually pretty good. And he was the scriptwriter. Later, I think around 2019 something, there's another such drama called 新世界 New World, led by also Zhang Luyi. It didn't get a very good response. And I watched it a little bit and didn't like it and quit. And in this drama, I just feel like it is a concentrated explosion of all the symptoms and all the problems that's wrong with this director. He completely lives in his own world. There isn't an imagined audiences in his head. Whereas in my opinion, if you are being a storyteller and you're doing it for a living, right? You're making a drama, you're selling it basically. Then the first thing you have to think about is you have an audience. Who are they? Assuming your position with them, imagine how you would position yourself and how you would tell the story to basically make other people want to hear about your story. I have the feeling that this director somehow has no imagined audiences in his mind at all. He's just having fun with himself, leaving completely audiences unattended. I'm not saying you can't not make that type of thing, but if you're making it, then you shouldn't make it as a commercial product. You can go use your own money to shoot something like that and then just screen that within your own community, your friends, your family, the friends who like you, or you know they are gonna like it, or just screen that to yourself. Put it in your bathroom and put it on loop. Every time you go to take, you can look at your own work and marvel at your own geniuses. But it's kind of like pointless to make such a thing when you really don't have any imagined audiences out there and you put it out there, and what do you expect? Obviously, it's not going to be successful. When this drama aired, it didn't do well at all on iQIYI. I think it's so-called within iQIYI's calculated number is 7,000. To give you an idea, if you don't go over 10,000, it's considered a failure in terms of rating within the platform. And it's not because it's not high quality quotation mark in terms of its hardware production. On the contrary, its camera work, its editing, its special effect probably is the best I've seen with quotation mark in terms of how complicated it could be and how much technicality is required and how you can tell the people who did it know what they're doing. Of 2025 Chinese drama land, still though, it's not a good drama. So that's the complicated and really ironic thing about this drama is it actually has good budget, it has good technicality, yet it has no soul. It has no intention to communicate with its audiences. Like the storyteller doesn't care about who is watching. So this whole drama reads like a huge narcissistic self-indulgence colorful pile of trash. It's beautifully made with good material trash. If I have to squeeze out some good points about it, first, it's shot in Chongqing and it looks fantastic. They pick intentionally certain very visually unrealistic, surreal kind of locations to shoot to give you that, because most of the time the story is happening in the mental space. It has very special and intentional and highly stylized way of using camera. So if you are the type of person who really likes flashy and unusual camera works and visual representations, you may have quite a bit fun watching this drama. It's very abnormal. And the third thing would be, if you're worried about anybody doing really bad performances, you're not gonna get that in this drama. And those are the only things I can think about. What is good about 在人间, What a Wonderful World. Everything else from now on is gonna be my rant. Number one, let's talk about the fact that although it looks flashy, I don't like how it uses camera. This drama has a lot of not easy to do, probably expensive, has to be designed and pretty tasking way of using camera because it wants to create that, I guess, mental space because this is a mentally ill person. So often you cannot quite tell whether he's in reality or he's in his mental space. To create that atmosphere of something is icky, it's not normal going on, they constantly use cameras in very unusual ways that you don't usually see in dramas or in films. Now, people these days are very used to moving shots, whether it's on a track or it's a steady cam, it's on a gimbal, it's moving, but often you don't get shots that are, let's say, on a wide angle lens, but it keeps pushing towards the person to the point that the person starts to become completely distorted and then it pulls back and pulls in. You don't usually get that type of advertisement or music video movement of cameras in a dramatic storytelling. Whereas in this drama, often you feel they are using a camera that's almost like only happens to certain commercial. Apple trying to show their phone or other things that the camera almost flies into certain zones, comes out. It likes to use low angle. It likes to follow the person. In the long shot, it likes to actually push too close to the person, almost like going into them and then coming out. It's all just dancing around too much and it doesn't look like a drama. Now, if you use it very limited with very intended purposes for certain sequences, I would understand that. But unfortunately, this drama has so much of it. Every episode, it's constantly doing that to the point where I feel it is only because the director think it's cool. Look at how unique and different and technicality-wise proficient our team is, and we're better than other people. So they just put a lot of such camera sequences in the drama that I'm like, I'm watching an 8 episodes, each episode like 45 minutes drama. I'm not watching a 10-second commercial. If you constantly deliver me that kind of visual, it actually is very uncomfortable. It triggers like nausea and it takes away my attention from the actual story and the performance and the acting and the characters. I'm just noticing all the zzz of your camera and I don't think it helps the narrative at all. It actually adds distraction. And then this drama has, unfortunately, a huge amount of CG. Probably the most CG drama, again, I've seen in 2025 due to it's happening in a mental zone. So people have special abilities in the zone. They don't get wet by rain, they walk through walls and suddenly the whole world collapses and then they end up on the train that's on a lake or it's like collapsing and there's snow avalanche. Like, go and watch this drama, you're gonna go like, what am I watching? So this drama has so much overloaded amount of special effect, plus the weird tone of people, plus it's kind of like mental zone, so they're not in reality, plus the weird camera movement. It's too much sensory overload. This is an 8 episodes drama. They shot it for 2 months. That means like there's a huge amount of work that got into it. It doesn't actually deliver value for the audiences at all and doesn't help the story. So the second biggest problem with this is it doesn't have a story and it doesn't have characters. I am completely gobsmacked by the fact that by the end of the drama, after swallowing 8 episodes, I actually have no clue about who Yinfang is. The character he played is. He is the main person. He's the real person. Zhao Liying is the personality that is the strongest among his multiple personalities. So technically speaking, Zhao Liying isn't a real person. So if she doesn't have source, parents, family, background, career, she doesn't have connection in the real world because she's imagined, it kind of makes sense. She has her personalities, but then you don't know where it comes from. But then when it comes to Yinfang's character, he's a real person, exists in our real world. Yet, after watching 8 episodes, you will know nothing about him at all. The drama actually doesn't tell you anything about him. So for example, is there any clue about his family background? Why would he develop that many personalities? Is there a specific trauma that he suffered that caused this? Or is it like just inheritance? You know nothing. You know he has a sister. That's the only thing you know. Like, there's a sister. He tells you that he works at a certain place during the day, but you never see him work. Actually, he has no colleague, no any other social ties apart from the doctor that he's seeing, played by Zhou Yiwei. And I can't remember when is the last time I've watched a drama or a movie and by the end you actually know nothing about the lead character at all. And really, what is the story? It's like you find out that he has multiple personality disorders and one of them is the strongest, and he's in love with herself and she is in love with him herself, like however you want to call it, because they are the same person. 8 minutes is enough. You don't need 8 episodes to tell such a story. There are plenty of short movies in the world that's 10 minutes that actually has more character and more things happening that are better made. Just go and look at every year's short movie competitions internationally. You always find a couple that's like within 10 minutes and you cry like a baby after watching it, right? And you get this 8 episodes of like you have no idea what they're doing. So it becomes really difficult for me to in any way judge quotation mark performances from the actors. The only thing they could ever really do for this script is perform that specific emotion in that second on the script. For example, they're standing in front of a collapsing mountain of snow and they're panicking because the snow is coming towards them, so they're acting that reaction. Okay, so if you're saying that is what you're doing an okay job. But that's the only thing that you do is in each specific scene, are they happy, are they not happy, are they angry, are they crying? Are they trying to run away from falling apart world? Are they trying to find each other? But they are never playing a character. There's nothing backing them up. They know nothing probably about their own characters. So if you're saying, are they doing a good job as actors for those moments? It's okay. Can they actually deliver good, affecting performances to the audiences? They cannot because they don't have characters. The combined result is I'm not impressed by anybody's acting. Nobody moved me, no characters touched me. The drama completely happens in a detached way from me. I'd also think no matter who are the actors, if it's not these two, find any other 2 people, it's still gonna be the same. On script level, it's a failure. Actors almost is irrelevant in this case of whoever takes on those roles. I just feel this type of drama they get made and they're just such a waste of everything, time, resource, everything. The flashier and prettier it looks on the outside, the more pathetic, hopeless the situation is. Chinese drama land from last year, 2024, it's already been really bad, but 2025 is historical bad. In terms of how many crews are shooting dramas, just counting the numbers, the drop in percentage in China right now, I think among the industry friends I've heard, the number is like over 50%. So in terms of how many things are getting made compared to say last year, it's more than 50% less. That's what's going on in dramaland right now. It's bad. And while it is that bad, this type of thing still gets made. I mean, it's made last year. It's shot March to May last year. But it's still shocking. It's this type of thing are still being made. And they don't contribute anything to the industry at all. If you have that much like money to burn to make this type of thing, donate it to, I don't know, a remote village school. It would have done so much more for the society than making this type of drama. Like, who is the audiences? There's no targeted audiences. It doesn't serve anybody. Yet it looks really pretty and flashy and they definitely put effort in it. So you almost cannot say money laundering thing because there are money laundering dramas and films in the industry, but they're all very specifically done in that way you can tell, and then clearly they don't put any effort. They try to make it as cheap as possible and then get the biggest return as possible, right? And this drama, actually, you can tell people put effort because it's not easy making those things. It's like fantastically beautiful sometimes. So there's time and energy and money put in, but you produce this. A meaningless pool of colorful, fantastical, nobody can understand what it is thing. At the end of this video, Zhe Yao is still watchable, exactly like how I said in my first video about it. And if you think that is okay, you can go and check the drama out. And as for What a Wonderful World, if you can watch through the 8 episodes, not even fast forwarding 1 second, and feel really happy and great about it at the end of it, there's one thing you can know for sure, which is you have a completely different programming of your brain and your perception of the world than Avenue X. I'm letting you know that so that you know in this world there are people who are completely different from you. And accept that as a fact and don't attempt to understand because you probably never will. And I would be actually really impressed by the fact that if you can fully enjoy this drama, you must have some really interesting brain wiring that I would never ever understand how it works and would not even attempt to try to become. It would be too much of a leap. I would need to basically reincarnate in a different body and probably try to start the system from scratch. That will be the end of this video. Thank you for watching Avenue X. Please take care in this currently going mad world. In that way, I think the troubles the Dramaland has isn't even a trouble, right, in comparison. Please take care. I'll see you in my next video. Meanwhile, live long and happy drama watching.